Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about how to maintain your light, how to find that joy, that purpose within you, no matter what is going on in your life. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say that word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive perspective. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. So something that I get asked a lot through social media or when people just reach out to the podcast, and it's how to get through dark times. And something that comes into my mind sometimes is like, what's the point? Like when you're going through this hard time, and there's so many different versions of hard times. Sometimes it's people struggling with school. Sometimes people are struggling with health conditions or war or the economy. Like the degree of what people go through is so different, but the way they feel is the same. These different paths, but the feeling is the same. And I start thinking, like, what is the point? And sometimes I don't necessarily see a point in a worldly view, meaning if you do this, you get this, because that can be unfulfilling. You see, if you think that if you take positive habits and get positive thoughts and do positive actions, that you'll get rich or you'll get a nice house or you'll get the body that you want, like if that's the result you're chasing, you'll find that you'll get that result, but you'll still feel the same. That feeling won't go away. You'll go on a chase for something and you may not feel it because you're running so fast, but then as soon as you catch the thing, it comes back even harder because then you realize the thing you were chasing was not the answer either, and it weighs even heavier on your system. That's when I start to go back to, what if we're more? What if you're more than this person having this life that, goes to school, gets a job, has a family, gets old, and then dies? And that's it. What if you're this being that's having an experience? Then what's the experience for? Is it here just to try things, to have fun? Maybe for some. But what it's to find out what you truly are. You see, if there's a God and there's this highest energy, it's a frequency of sorts. It's a vibration. It's a standard of operation to exist in it. It's just like a radio station. If you're a dial or a radio, you can't listen to two stations at the same time. You'd have to have two different dials, but you see, you are a being. You're a single dial. So the frequency of you, the pattern that you operate in, dials you into a frequency, and your frequency is what you frequently see, which gives you a perception of things. Your perception is a reception of what you receive. So in this earthly experiencing that you're having, what you're receiving, and I don't just mean in the physical, because you can manifest things. You can be negative and manifest money. You can be evil and manifest abundance. Like that has nothing to do with your internal state, that emptiness that we're trying to heal. What if that emptiness is actually there for a reason? What if you're here to learn how big of a light you can be? How bright of a positivity, high energy, healing being you could be? You see, if that's the path you're on, then you'd have to go where it's hardest to be that and be it, to know that you can be it. If you only do it where it's easy, where it's comfortable, where it's the softest, where it's the most accommodating, or the easiest to heal, or the easiest to forgive, if you're only doing it in those situations, then your ability to do it is only equal to the degree of difficulty that you're in. And so if you're going into something, if you're going into the darkness and you're a light and you're shining bright, but the darker it gets, you start to fade, you have to look at what causes that light to emit. What is that light? Well, the light's the highest frequency. It's love. It's pure love. So how do you operate in love? Well, first, your thoughts. You see, if you say that I am love and I live in love and light, and that's your I am statement that you say in your mind over and over and over, if your actions are different than that, you'll feel it. You'll feel the two different frequencies butting against each other. You'll feel the two different vibrations pushing against each other. Just like if you take two magnets, like in my head, what always pops up is those little Brio trains that have the magnets at the end that connect. If you put them the opposite way, they push apart. And on that track, you can almost push a train the whole way without it touching because the opposite is the magnet's pushing away. Well, that's how frequency works. And it's easier to change your mind than it is to change your habits, your actions, your words. So if you're having negative actions, words, or the harder the situation is, or the darker it gets that your habits and words become equivalent to those, your thoughts will align with that because you'll feel that pressure. And so that means you either have to change your actions where it's hard, you have to change your word where it's hard, or you can change your thoughts to match the same. So if you're this being that has this high purpose, that's here for a reason, here to grow, here to be the light, then you're going to go where it's dark, and that's the journey that you're on. And you might think, well, I don't want this. I didn't choose this. That's limiting yourself to think, well, I would have just chose a life where I got everything I want. That seems like a pretty basic being, a very simple being that only wants everything on a world where nothing is permanent. Why would you want anything from a place where you're not going to last? Every person, if you go back 100 years, there's almost nobody that was born that's alive today. There's a few, a handful. You go back 150 years and there's none. Zero. So why would the goal to be here to amass everything? Doesn't make sense. It's not forever. You're a being that's more powerful than that. You're here to truly uplift your internal state. And everyone has different journeys they're on, different difficulties that they'll go through, but your worst day is still your worst day, so it'll feel the same. You can't compare worst days. You just have to know that your job, your purpose, your passion, your goal, your gift is to be the light in whatever is the darkness for you. So when you're in that place that's hard, whatever it is that you're going through, look at your pattern. Because your pattern is what you are. Your pattern consists of your thoughts. So if you're in a tough time where you're going through difficult things and you keep saying and thinking about all the bad things that are happening, then that's the energy in your mind. And it'll probably match what's around you because what's around you will not vibrate with the difference. You see, if you're a ball of light and you're constantly saying, I am love and I live in love and light, and you're saying these positive things and you're seeing the silver lining, you're seeing the brightness in every situation, and then you're doing your best physically to match that, meaning you're doing the nice deeds, you're making your body as the gift, you're treating your body as if it was the first gift, you're teaching your surroundings as if it was the next gift, and bringing light to the body, bringing light to the world. Like you're constantly doing that. When you go in the darkness can't stay around it. They can't stand you. They'll start saying you're toxic positive. Can't you see what's wrong? That's what they'll start doing. You'll feel that friction. But see, each of you has a choice. You can choose to go to their frequency. And I used to say lower, but I don't want to say lower because that means that one is higher than the other. And maybe on a chart they are, but importance or value or meaning they're not. They all need to exist for full expansion of understanding. But the two frequencies, one will have to make a choice because they can't coexist. I think that's what it means when it talks about heaven. It's not that there's these gates and this person says, well, you did X, Y, and Z, so you're not allowed. If anything, it's just you can't go. You're not that frequency. You cannot vibrate there because you didn't follow the pattern that's put in place to do it. And if you look at many of the spiritual leaders, the pattern that they persist or the pattern that they follow for themselves is a pattern of love. They went through terrible things and they still operate in love. They went through loss and they still operated in love. They went through persecution, crucifixion. They went through all of that and still operated in love. So you have the choice. You can go and match the surroundings around you because people will agree. Yeah, it's really bad what's happening at work. Yeah, this boss is a jerk. Yeah, the economy this. Yeah, this president is this. Yeah, this. Like people will agree because misery loves company. But what that really means is frequency loves company. And this earth is meant to be a lower frequency place. Why would you go to a higher frequency place to raise your frequency? You need to go to where your spectrum is still at. This is where your baseline is most likely. So you need to go here to be uplifted here so that you can go to the next one. This is the current journey. This is the current experience for you. It's why you're here. It's why your life path is what it is. It is what it is and it always will be. It'll always be now. And you get to choose how you react to it. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. Yes, there's consequences to what's happened in the past. Yes, there's effects to what has happened in the past. Who's in front of you, who's around you, what you have. Yes, those have to do with what's happened in the past. But your internal state and the energy you emit in the now is your choice. It's not a fair choice. It's not an easy choice. It's not an equal choice. It's not a choice everyone can decide to make and actually pull off. But for you, it's a choice. And so if you look around and you measure your choice, you will find that jealousy. You'll find the envy. You'll find that emptiness. But if you look to yourself and say, okay, well, I can still choose to be light in this situation, then you choose it. There's your growth. There's your purpose. There's your fulfillment because you realize, oh, I don't have to feel this frequency. I can just be it. And that's what we are. We are beings. We are being something. We are being a frequency. So choose yours, rise up, and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a different perspective on whatever it is that you're going through. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It'll keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram and TikTok down below. I appreciate all the follows there. Well, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.